What types of superheterodynes are you familiar with? What do you know about them? In this video I will tell you about one forgotten radio concept that was quite popular in the early 30s. In the previous video, I promised to start a new series of stories about early American superheterodynes of the early 30s and compare their circuitry, design and general concept with European analogues. But I realized that this topic would not be covered without a review of superheterodynes of many iconic brands from Germany and Great Britain at that time. I correct my mistake. Today I will review a very atypical budget 4-tube superheterodyne model, 36WL from Siemens Corporation. One of the three divisions of the large industrial association Siemens, AEG Telefunken. If you want to find a more controversial circuit with a lot of contradictions, then you are unlikely to find something more original than the Siemens Model 36WL radio receiver, or its twin brothers from the AEG or Telefunken divisions. Judge for yourself. These models are united by a typical standard super from other manufacturers only by the presence of a frequency conversion stage and an output stage of an audio amplifier. But you will not find here a traditional intermediate frequency amplifier, a detector and even an input stage of an audio amplifier. And how can you do without them, you ask? Very simply, by using only one instead of these three stages, and its name is a regenerator. That is, this is the same type of amplifier detector stage, which was the only available circuit solution for simple and cheap radio receivers in the 20s and in the first half of the 30s. The only difference from the operation in regenerator-type receivers is that in this function of the intermediate frequency amplifier, the regenerative stage is tuned to a fixed frequency of 232 kHz when the receiver is operating in the medium wave range, or to a frequency of 500 kHz when operating on long waves. And the positive feedback depth regulator is set to a fixed gain coefficient sufficient to ensure the necessary sensitivity with stable operation of the stage without whistles and distortions. Everything is simple, cheap and quite reliable, and also, -2 radio tubes in the design. And in general, there are only 4 radio tubes here. One radio tube of the RENS 1264 type in the frequency converter, another RENS 1264 in the already mentioned regenerator stage, RENS 1374D in the output stage, and a rectifier on RGN 1064. Due to the unstable operation of the regenerative cascade as an intermediate frequency amplifier, it is practically impossible to receive radio stations on short waves in radio receivers of this type. So this radio has only 2 ranges, medium and long waves. Another feature, on the scale we see the distribution of frequencies and names of radio stations isolated from each other by groups of countries and regions of Europe. What is this? The need to respond to market demand through the export of radio receivers of this model to all countries of Europe, or what is also possible, a warning from our own government about an undesirable list of radio stations of countries hostile to the German government. A warning from the government that had just come to power in Germany in 1933. Now we can only guess and offer our own versions, sometimes conspiratorial. A few words about the design. Stylish on the outside and finished with beautiful walnut veneer. But what always surprised me about German radio was the economy in materials. You won't find such thin plywood, only 4-5 millimeters thick, in any radio receivers from other countries in the world. At the same time, the case itself is strong. Amazing. To conclude this short review, one could say the traditional thing that everything ingenious is simple, but not everything is so simple and cloudless when using this type of superheterodyne in real operation. In my case, it suddenly turned out that my Siemens, which I personally repaired and tuned 5 years ago and which worked perfectly then, now at the time of creating this video categorically refused to work stably and, apart from whistling, did not want to catch a single radio station. So sorry. Today there will be no demonstration of its excellent reception, because we have nothing to show off today. But we will correct ourselves and soon shoot another video about this strangely designed radio. So, until the next meeting in a week. I plan to create a video about one very early English superheterodyne, also from 1933. If you liked the video, comment, like, subscribe.